This is the 2024 Polestar. Well, actually, you know what? Cast your mind back almost 10 years to 2017 when Volvo revealed the concept coupe designed by future Polestar CEO Thomas Engenlath. That went on to become the Polestar 1, a plug-in hybrid performance coupe revealed in 2017. And production of that car only ended in 2022, this year. It'll be replaced by the Polestar 5, which you saw previously as the Precept concept. Then the Polestar 2 was revealed in 2019. And of course, COVID came along, and finally, in early 2022, it went on sale in Australia. Now here, at the end of 2022, we're in Copenhagen to see the reveal of the Polestar 3. Really, in some respects, probably the most important model in Polestar's lifeline so far. Not only because its reveal was timed beautifully with Polestar's launch on the Nasdaq, but also because it's an SUV. And you can't have a car brand these days without launching an SUV. This one's a large SUV. The Polestar 4 that will come sometime next year will be a medium SUV and probably more accessible. But this large Polestar 3 electric vehicle will come to Australia in the first quarter of 2024. And it'll be priced from around 135 grand. For that money, you'll get 360 kilowatts, 840 newton meters of torque, and a 111 kilowatt hour battery. Good for a WLTP preliminary driving range of 610 kilometers, Polestar says. Its rivals in Australia will be the BMW iX and the Audi e-tron, Mercedes-Benz EQC obviously among them, and the upcoming EQE as well. So there is actually quite a bit of competition in this market, and of course they'd also be looking to conquest people that are considering something like a BMW X5 or an Audi Q7, maybe Audi Q5. This really sits somewhere between those two body shapes. So let's take a tour inside. Flush door handles. This is a pre-production car, so normally as you approach with your proximity key, those would flip out in the same way that you see the lever style ones flip out on an Aston Martin Ioniq 5, a Tesla, that type of thing. Inside is fairly familiar for anybody that's experienced a Polestar 2, but it's definitely a step up, not only because it's a much more expensive car, more than twice the price, or about twice the price of a Polestar 2, but also because that's where the brand needs to be increasingly positioning itself as a real premium offering. So the first thing you see inside the Polestar 3 is a brand new steering wheel design that sets the car further apart from the Volvo borrowed wheel in the Polestar 2. It's got these beautiful glossy buttons that look fantastic in photos, but as you can see, the number of people that have been in and out of this car today, there's already heaps of fingerprints on there. That's pretty much how it will always be, so you'll probably find yourself wiping that down at the traffic lights. Massive portrait display running Android Automotive, which is the integrated operating system that is already featured in the Polestar 2 and a couple of Volvo models as well. The entire operating system is built on that Android Automotive operating system. So it's got all of you'll need a Google login or a Gmail address to log in, and you've got the Google Play Store. You can download the Spotify app, the YouTube app, which would obviously be great when you're stopped charging. Got this cool vent design running along the dash, which is something we've seen in Audis, Volkswagens and so on. Even the new Honda Civic has a similar design, so there's a bit of a trend there, but it's a good look. And I like this satin finish here as well. All the materials are quite nice, and obviously these are all sustainable, or as sustainable as they can be. This particular one is using a vinyl, well, not vinyl, it's actually like a bio vinyl that they call it. So it's a vegan leather. Polestar will continue using actual animal leather in their vehicles as well, but that too is sourced as sustainably as it can be, using special animal welfare leather from Scotland and Ireland and the UK, which is a pretty incredible thing. Basically byproduct of the food industry. Column mounted transmission shifter there. This is a pre-production car. We can't turn it on, unfortunately, but I'll show you some footage of all of these things operating. Media controller here. 2 cup holders. Again, beautiful glossy in photos, but just covered in fingerprints. So it's the sort of thing you'll be wiping down as often as you can. Apparently a fantastic Bowers & Wilkins audio system in this car with Dolby Atmos surround sound. So I'm very keen to hear that when finally we can. And more glossy controls over here. Let's take a look in the second row. Buckets of legroom in the rear. You can tell that Polestar has really prioritised the second row, and you might argue that that's anything to do with the Chinese ownership of the brand, where they really prize legroom in the second row, being driven around. It's sort of a bit of a cultural tradition in China. So you see a lot of the cars that are sold in China have long wheelbase versions of cars that we get in Australia. Even cars like the 3 Series, a normal mid-size sedan, can be had with a long wheelbase model. This is loads of room. So the front seat is already positioned in my usual seat. I'm about 5'10", and you can see even if you were a 6'3" driver in the front, another 6-foot rear passenger would probably still have loads of room. Heaps of wiggle room under here as well for my toes. And of course a flat floor. No transmission tunnel, and a proper dedicated EV platform, the Spa 2 platform this one's based on, which is shared with Volvo and will also feature in the upcoming Volvo X90. Loads of headroom in here, and this massive panoramic glass window. You can see the Polestar logo there as well, which is very cool. But it's a very airy cabin. It's a dedicated 5-seater. There will not be a 7-seat option. So you'll always have loads of room. Heating controls here and heated seats as well. Very nice. And of course that Swedish gold seat belt. The boot is a decent size. It is smaller than that in the BMW iX and the Audi e-tron. I'll put some comparative graphics up on the screen so you can see how they go side by side. But again, that's based of course on it having a tapered roof, but also loads of rear legroom. That's really something they've prized. The wheelbase is around 2,980 mil, I think. Again, I'll put that up on the screen, which really compares with some of the biggest SUVs in the Australian market anyway. Things like the Hyundai Palisade, and now of course the Hyundai Ioniq 5 has a similarly stretched wheelbase. You can get a performance pack for the Polestar 3 as well. It's about 10 grand in Australian. It hasn't been made official, the actual price for the performance pack in Australia, but the European price converts to around 10 grand, and that ups power to 380 kilowatts and 910 newton meters of torque. In its regular form, with 360 kilowatts and 840 newton meters, it accelerates to 100 kilometers an hour in 5 seconds. And with the performance pack, that's cut to 4.7. So it's definitely competitive with models like the xDrive 50 BMW iX and the Audi e-tron S. There's no M60 equivalent in this range. We spoke to the engineers of the car and they've confirmed that the performance pack available with it now is as powerful as this car will be able to get. The motor configuration and battery configuration that they've got won't allow the software to unlock any further power in this configuration. So if we do ever see a more powerful Polestar 3, it will actually mean a significant engineering change as well, not just a software update. So there we have the Polestar 3. Tell us your thoughts on this car coming to Australia in early 2024 from around 135 grand. Not cheap, not that accessible, affordable EV that everybody keeps waiting for and asking for, but in the segment, it is actually going to be quite a well-priced rival to that Audi e-tron and to the BMW iX, sort of matching and outdoing them on different levels depending on the price and the configuration. So it's a fairly impressive start for Polestar in this segment. We'll be very keen to see how it sells when it reaches Australia. Get all of the details on this car in our very long reveal story on whichcar.com.au, and make sure you jump into the comments to tell us what you think. Thanks everyone.